Welcome friends again to my channel. Now we were working on Laravel from scratch tutorial, and in doing so I said that we are going to build a blog because in building there are a lot of things that you are going to learn rather than just doing the tutorials and various things. I thought it is important that we do it by building a blog so that you see things in application form where how we apply them. So we had this is where we are. In the last section we had integrated the front end theme, and this is how it looks in the front end. Okay, but then of course we need the administration part of anything is the admin part. So in this section, let's just set up the admin panel from where we are going to be adding posts, to be registering users, doing other things. So the first thing, I have my own theme or template that I've made I usually use for my projects. And let me just do the first thing. I'm going to leave the GitHub link. So the first thing I just want to copy, this is the theme. The first thing I want just to copy this front end. This front end is the one that has files. It has the files, the file like CSS, JavaScript for the theme. So what I'm going to do is to just copy this folder inside this. There's this folder called front end, and just want to copy the admin. And then I'm going to paste that in our project. Our project is in htdocs, the folder, and then inside the YouTube folder, and it is called Scratch. So inside the Scratch, I'll go inside the public folder, and then I'll just paste that. So that is the theme. That is for admin. The files for the admin panel theme. And then I'll just go back as that continues, and I'll just go back, and then we have this admin. These are the files like pages and everything. So I'm just going back and just copy this and go back to the project folder, and inside the resources and views, I'm just going to paste that. So that is the admin part of it. The admin is where we are going to be having the admin pages and things to do with the administration. And then after that, I'll just go back and copy the last file, which is dashboard.blade.php, and that is the layout now. So we are just going to go to the views again, and then inside the layouts we have we just paste that dashboard. So this dashboard is for we will use for the admin and also for the users. All right. So after doing that, now we can set it up. I've just opened the project in using my editor, which is VS Code. And the first thing you have to do, let me just close everything. Let me close everything and collapse everything. So the first thing you are going to do is to look for that, look for the web .blade, not .blade, just web roots. And then inside this file, we are going to create the admin route. So just copy that route paste down there, and then I'll just rename it get, and just do admin. Let's just do dashboard / home, and that we are going to use what we call admin controller or dashboard controller. Okay, but you see this here, they are using a function. Let us just use the function right now. I'm going to talk about controllers later. So yeah, I'm just going to return view, and that view is inside admin, and then pages, and then home. So this file, let me show you where it is. So if I click on this and go to the admin folder that I pasted in the views, there's this folder called pages, and then there is this file called home, and this is the home of the home of our application. This is the home page. Okay, but we'll have to clear some things like this one, because they are going to bring some errors. They are the one that I had used the data on the previous project I was working on. So we don't have users as at now. So I'm just going to comment out these and also these. So after saving that, let us just try visiting that route and see. So we'll go to the browser, and then here we'll do /dashboard / home, like that. And now here you can see our dashboard. So that is just the thing that I've integrated. So this is the dashboard, and from here we are going to add things. Here there are no users, so there's nothing to show here. But from here we are going to add users, to add blog, to add post, and to add categories and everything. So that is it. We have already set up the admin panel. Okay. So the next thing we have to do, let me talk about what we call named routes. Named routes. No, let me not talk about that now. So now we have to enter into doing our blog. And what do we need? In a blog we need categories, because posts, they have categories. Okay, and then we need posts. So these are the tables that we need. We need the table that is called categories, we need the table that is called posts, and we need users. Okay, and we need authentication. So without authentication, without authentication, I don't think without authentication, your blog will be useless, because people need to sign up and sign in, and you need to regulate the users and give permissions and deny permissions. Okay, so the first thing you need to set up is now authentication. Now, what is authentication in Laravel? Authentication is where you can now log in, is the functionality of you logging in user and logging out user and getting the user session. For example, which user is logged in, and then what are their details. Okay, so in so doing, you now have to enter into migrations, because we have if we go to the database, we have a folder called migrations, and inside migration you have this file that have been created for you, and the first one is the users. Okay, so this users migration is a prototype of your table. So by saying a prototype, it's like a blueprint of your table. Blueprints means that every table if you want, let's say if you want to build a house, what do you do first? You write a plan. So migration is like a plan for the table that you want, for the table you want to create, for you want to create. For example, here you have table users, and that table users, what will it contain? Which fields or columns will it contain? And you see, you have the first column is ID, the second column is called name, the third column is called email, the fourth is email verified, and you can add others. So this one is the blueprint of the table that will be created. And in Laravel, we don't create tables manually. We just set up, we just connect it to the database, and after that, there is a command we are going to run, and all these files, just take these to be plans for our tables, and when you run that command, all these files are going to be saved into the database. So the first thing you have to do is to work on how the users are going to log in and to log out. And in so doing, I said you are going to use the users migration. So now here we have started talking about the database. Now we have the first thing we have to do is to connect our table with our database. Okay, so if you just go to the .env, how do you connect your table to your database? If we go to the .env file, you can see a bunch of things here. These are like settings. So application name is, you can just change here the name of the application, and you can just do, you can just call it like Simon's. It should be one. You can just do blog like that. And then after that, we have the server it is running. Is it in the debug mode? Is true. And we have all other settings. The environment is the local environment. But then if we go to this section from number 10, we find the database settings. So database connection is MySQL, and then the host is the local host here, and then the database port is this. But now this is the database name. Okay. So this database name is what you change to your database, and the first thing you have to create that database. So let's just go and create that database in our phpMyAdmin. So in my phpMyAdmin, I'll just click on new to create a new database, and I just create that database that I'll call blog, and make sure that you are creating the database that doesn't exist. And you have created that database. Where is it? It is here. You see there is no tables, nothing. So after creating the database, you don't have to worry about adding tables manually or writing a script for adding those tables. We'll just run a command. We'll just set up the migrations, and when we run a certain command, all these tables are going to be saved to the database. So after setting up the database in the phpMyAdmin, you have to change this DB to the database that you have set up, and that is blog. Username, I'm using the default on Windows or on XAMPP, that is root. But if you are using maybe WAMP and data, and you have set up, you have changed the settings, make sure that you change the username and then the password. So the password is empty, so I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to save that. Now after setting up the database, we have already set up the database. Now how do we get this table into our database? Right now our database is empty. So we have something we call artisan. In artisan, if we just do a PHP artisan, I think that shall. We just do PHP artisan. You see that there is a bunch of commands here that will help you in running various tasks. For example, if you want to create migrations, if you want to create models, if you want to create many other things. So you can see all these. So that is, we call it artisan. So for you to call that, just do PHP artisan and the command that you want to run. And the command for sending or creating now the table from the migrations, that command is called migrate. So meaning that we have to do, for us to run that command so that these users table, users, and then you have the password resets and failed jobs. For all these migration to be saved as now tables in our database, we have to run PHP artisan migrate. So just run like that. We have a bunch of commands and we are going to look at some as we continue. And sure enough, you can see migrating users, migrating password resets, migrating failed jobs. So they are basically migrating these tables, creating these tables in the database that we created that is called blog. And now if we go to the blog, if we go to that database called blog and click on it, it was empty, but you can see now we have these tables that have been created. We have users, and it is empty because we have not added any user. We have password resets, and that is for resetting passwords, and migration and failed jobs. But you might ask yourself, we have 3 migrations. That is, create users, create failed jobs, create password resets. Where did these migrations come from? And this migrations table, it is generated automatically every time when you do PHP artisan migrate, and this tracks all the tables that you have migrated. So for example, if I click on this, you get these 3 tables there. So you have migrated users, you have migrated those migrations. So those are the migrations. You see all these migrations here. So if these migrations are, for example, 10, you find that these will be 10. Okay, now I hope you understand. So we already have our users table. So what is the next thing? The next thing is now authentication, and that is very important. How do we log in and log out users? Now in Laravel it is quite simple. In PHP you'll have to write all these functionalities on your own, but in Laravel it makes things simpler for you. So we just have to install one package, and then after that you are going to do authentication scaffolding very easily. So the first thing you just do, there's a package that you have to install, and that package is called Laravel UI. And then for you to install that package, you can just click on this. And there are 2 ways that you can do authentication. There are 2 ways that you can do authentication. And for you to know, to understand this in details, I have a video on my channel. That video is called Laravel Authentication Without Using Jetstream. And in this video here, I talk about 2 ways of doing authentication in Laravel. So here I am just going to use the first way. So I'm just going to copy this. Just do composer require Laravel UI. Don't include this. Just do Laravel UI. And the reason is that this Laravel UI 2.4, that one was being used in the Laravel 7 and below. And you know, when Laravel 8 came, the Laravel UI package was removed, and it was really helping a lot of people. So people really complained. So they had to upgrade the Laravel UI to version 3.1, and that is the version that Laravel 8 uses. So if you install the 2.4 version, it will not work. So just do a composer. So how do we install that? We just go to the terminal and run that command. So we are going to the terminal, and then we just paste that command. I don't know if I copied it. So just copy composer require Laravel stroke UI like that. Go to the terminal and paste it. So if we paste it just like that, it's going to install the latest version, which is 3 point something. And you can see it is version 3.2. So that is the Laravel UI version 3.2. So that is the package that is going to help us do authentication, the authentication scaffolding in a very easier way. And you are going to maybe some of you, if you are just a beginner, you may not be understanding what I'm saying, but you're going to understand it. Now, as it installs, there are various ways that you can there are various, for example, after that you can just do the UI, a simple UI, but then we have the UI here with registration. So this one will give you registration form, user registration form, user registration form, and the user login form. And this one is the one we want. And we have 3 versions. We have the one for Bootstrap, another one for Vue, and another one for React. So if you are using a front-end framework like Vue, you are going to install this one for Vue. If you are going to use a front-end framework, Laravel, you do use not Laravel, React, you are using this one. But in my case, I'm going to use the Bootstrap version because we are going to use Bootstrap in this tutorial. So I've just copied that. I'll go back. It is installing. Now our package has already installed, and then after that, after installing that, you just copy this one, the one you want to install. But I told that you want to use Bootstrap, so I just copy this one and go back to the terminal and paste that command. I'm pasting by doing clicking right clicking. So after that, you just hit enter, and it is going to tell you to run npm install and npm run dev. So why are we doing this? Remember, it is coming with the front end, and in the front end there are packages that need to be installed. So these packages are the one that we have to run these for those packages to be installed. And for the front end packages, the front end packages are installed by npm or yarn. So we are using npm to install. So just do that and then hit enter. Now, as that runs, I want to go back to the project and show you something fast. If you look inside the resources and then views, in the layouts, we have this app. This was not there, but it has been created. Okay, that is the first thing. It was not there, but it has been created. And it has been created by that UI package. During the installation of that UI package, it creates some files. So it has created this one, another layout, and you'll see how that layout looks like. And then remember we had dashboard and front, but it created another layout. And then inside this, we have this folder called auth. So this was not there. But then if we click, we find that we have that folder called, the folder called auth has been created, and that auth is for authentication, and it has the login form, then the register form and verify password form. Okay, and then we have the passwords where confirm password, email, reset, and things like those. So that is what these are the file that package creates. And if we go inside the controller, inside the app, and then HTTP and then controllers, you find that we have auth folder, and this folder was not there. But this folder basically contains the controllers to deal with authentication. So that is how Laravel helps you. You just run a few commands and it does a lot of things for you. Now, let me say, this is going to take some time to install these packages. Okay, because it has to install those packages, it takes a lot, I think a lot, it takes around 10 minutes. So as it installs, let me pause the video and I'll continue after that. Now, as it installs, it is very good. I think as it installs, instead of waiting for it to install, I can just continue with other things as it installs those files. So let's talk about, I've talked about migrations, and now you understand what migrations are. So if I say that migrations are a blueprint for creating a blueprint or a plan for creating tables, so you write how you want to structure your tables, and then you just run the command and that table is created. Now what are the models? Yeah, what are the models? So if we are dealing with database, we are talking about the migrations models. So what are models and where are they located? So say models as an interface between your models is like a class that has various methods for manipulating the database. So instead of writing the SQL script directly, you interact with that model. For example, you want to fetch user from the table. So each table is like a class or a model that interacts with your database. It is inside between you and maybe the SQL script that you're going to create. You just have a function that you write, and then it is going to do the rest for you. So that is model. So if we go inside the Laravel 8, it is the models are located inside the models directory or folder. So for example, we have users table, and that users table is manipulated by the users model here. As you can see, users model. And the users model, it says that it extends authenticatable. And okay, this is now the users model. I just don't want to go inside some things because I may confuse those who are absolute beginners. And just know that this model is a class and has many methods, not too many, but has various methods that you use in manipulating the database. And we are going to see those methods as we continue. For example, the methods of fetching users from the database, for fetching, saving users in the database, for maybe getting just the first user, the latest user, and things like those. We have method that we are going to use, and you can write. You can just write using your SQL script. If you know how you write SQL, you can just write it using that syntax. But then we have what we call eloquent. So eloquent is the Laravel's ORM, and that eloquent, it helps you do things in a very simplified manner, and I'm going to show you even as we continue. So for example, let's just go to I've talked about the models, and it's also good I talk about controllers. Okay, so controllers are like functions, and just controllers are like a class that has various methods, and you know methods are like functions. If you are familiar with object-oriented programming, that helps you do various things. You can manipulate you can use it to send data to the models, the process data, get data from the models and process it, and then do something with it or send to the front end. So those are the controllers, and the controllers, as we looked at earlier, they are situated or located inside the HTTP, inside the controllers directory here. So we have the controller here. This is the main controller, that where all the other controllers are extended from. So let's, for example, look at this default controller that is usually created every time you create a new Laravel project. And you find that it is using middleware. We'll talk about that later. But you see, it has a function called index, and that function returns view home. So let's go to the web.php and show you. So for example, if somebody goes to here, slash like that, it returns what? What does it return? It returns welcome page. It returns return welcome page. That is a file inside the views. We have that welcome .blade.php. But we can instead use the controller. We just delete this, and in Laravel 8, this is how you write the controller. So just do the controller name. For example, you can just do app and then HTTP, and then that is the HTTP, and then we have the controllers, and then the controller name. So the controller name, I want to just name controller, and then the method or the function that you want to handle this. So we are going to create a function called welcome. So just do welcome like that. So it is saying that if somebody visits this route, home route or slash route, we should call this function. And where is this function located? This function is in a class called home controller, and it is called welcome. And if let's just save that, and if we go to the home controller, do you have any method called welcome? We don't have, so you have to create. So just copy that. We can just do public function, and you have to call it welcome. We have to call it the way we called it here. It is welcome here. So you have to do public function welcome, and now we have now to return that view. So just do return view, and that view is called welcome like that. And doing this, if we go back to the project and visit the home route, if we go just to the home route again or slash, you find that it is still going to serve that file. Oh, what is going on? What is going on is that it has replaced our home page with the file that we are installing here. Oh, why is it saying this? It's saying we have an error. Let me see how we can. Now guys, after running that npm run install and then npm run dev, we are going to get compiled as, and this is new Laravel Mix version 6. Now to note, if your node version is below 12 point something, make sure you upgrade it. You can upgrade by just downloading a new version, the latest version, and installing it. If it is below 12, you are going to get an error while running npm install and npm run dev. So after this happening now, if we open our file, our project again, if we refresh Okay, you have to run npm. We have to run our server. All right, our server is running. So if we just refresh, and you notice something. You notice that it is redirecting us. You notice that it has really changed the format. That is the first thing, and it has created login and register. So this is the login, and this is the register page. So you see all these things we didn't have, but just after doing the Laravel scaffolding, we get now these ones. Okay, so Laravel 8. So the home page is leading us here. We'll have to customize the home page. So we are not going to display this by default or register by default. So what we are going to do is to change. So what happened is that when we were installing this, it did change the structure of our welcome our welcome page. Let me just go to that page. Welcome, where is it? If we go to our welcome, let me just collapse everything. Let me close everything and collapse everything. So you can just add that page by doing, if you are on Windows, you can just do Control P. If you do Control P and search welcome, you get this welcome.blade.php, and as you can see, welcome, this is the welcome page, but it is redirecting us to the every time it is redirecting us to the login. It is so it is redirecting us to the login. There's something, it is something to do with the middlewares, and we'll deal with that in the next section. But as you can see, we can register and we can log in. For example, if I just do Simon, if I just fill those details like that, and hit on register, you can see I've registered. I've been able to register. So if I just go to the phpMyAdmin and then open the users table, you'll find out that there's a new user that has been created in that database, and that user is just the email that I've used to register, and that is how Laravel simplifies everything for you. So that functionality has been brought about by the scaffolding, but just the scaffolding we've just done. So all that login, registration, password reset, and everything has been done for you. Okay. So, and you can see if we click on users, the laptop is slow because I'm installing some packages in the back, some tools in the background. That is why. And you can see I've registered as Simon. Okay. And it has, after registering, it has just led me to the dashboard. And you can click here and log out. You can log out and register as another person. Let me just show you. After logging out, I can log in, or I can go to forgot password, and it will take me to the reset password page. So all these pages and this functionality has been created just by installing Laravel UI package and doing npm install and npm run dev. Just for authentication, everything has been done. Can you imagine that? So that is how a framework helps you. So after doing authentication and everything that you've done in this section, in the next section, we are now going to start dealing with, we are going first to customize this page and now start doing the serious business of now coding the blog. Thank you so much, and let's meet in that section.